Okay, so here we are at Lobositz. It's the 6:20 a.m. turn, beginning of the turn. Nothing's changed. Just wanted to come in to tell you the fog doesn't rise until starting with the 7 a.m. turn, and then I believe it rises every turn. It's not really clear the way it's worded. It says beginning with the 7 a.m. hour, the fog will rise by level by level from lower to higher. At the beginning of each hour. Oh, okay. So it's going to be kind of slow how it rises up. And hope it makes it all the way to the top before the end of the game. Alright. Okay, we're moving on to the 6:40 turn. And honestly, it's not as rough as I felt it would be maneuvering the units so far. We still haven't gotten to any real effect, although we do have the first effect of fire. A casualty was caused here, and there was a disorder to one of the Prussian units trying to hold those Grenzers off. Like we had before, we're seeing a movement. The light unit's trying to move into the trench line. The Cav moving forward to position itself where, it can move to either direction. More Cav streaming on down here near Lobositz. I think it's important to establish myself in that area as soon as possible. Although that will clue the Prussians in. I've only brought one in, which isn't enough to make a difference yet, but I figure it's more important to get a good defensive position than to worry about trying to surprise them with, oh yeah, I actually needed this. They're going to go grab it if I don't. Got the off-map units have moved around. Again, not that the Prussian player is aware of any of this. But it's kind of cool. Alright, so like I said, not much has happened. Come back in a bit. So here we are at Lobositz. Move to the 7 a.m. turn. It's the beginning of an hour. We would check losses. I don't think with one Prussian unit infantry loss, and that's it, we're going to see any effect, so I'm not going to look that up. The fog rises one level automatically at the beginning of this hour. And what we're seeing is the Prussians beginning to deploy more towards the Lobositz side. However, these guys are in march column, or not march column, but in attack column. I'm not sure how safe that is. I'm assuming fairly safe, but I have to look that up. And whether the Austrians want to try to launch an attack. No matter what, they want to try to form up, and because their units are not in great formation right now. Like what? Actually, no. These are all in march column. You can tell by the facing. Attack column. This guy is either in attack column or line. I'm not sure it makes a difference for Cav. Except that it could be stretched in a different direction. But in a one hex conglomeration, it doesn't make much sense. I've got a bit of a traffic jam here trying to figure out what to do with these skirmishers, and I think I'm moving them correctly. I could be penalizing myself too much. I noticed, unlike most tactical games, the base cost for a lot of movement, like in clear here, is only a half as long as you're in, well, road, yeah, that makes sense to me, but march and attack column, well, even attack column, things can move a lot faster than I expected from their movement point allowance. On the other hand, moving up hills, and there have been a few ups, most have been down, can significantly affect that. We're not really seeing the battle forming up right now. The Cav here stopped one hex away from where the artillery could shoot them. I guess the Prussians are able to see the conglomeration of where the troops are Austrians have already committed two commands, which means they have to hold Sulowitz. Well, it's time to test out the close combat system. Here we are on the 7 a.m. turn. Prussians got first initiative. They're moving their cav forward. Leaders here. But they got within range where they can launch a charge. Now this is kind of disturbing to me. I can't find any penalty in the close combat or even the fire combat, in particular for being in march column as opposed to attack column. I don't know what I'm missing here. I'm looking, even on the charts, if I can find them, paging through all these different things. No, this is not them. There we go. Under fire combat, I see the attack column has these, and the march column has almost the same. A little bit more flank exposure is all. But that's about the limit of it. Anyway, this guy sets down his road, and now he's got a chance to countercharge. In order to do so, he has to make an effectiveness check, which is at 25. He succeeds, so he does a 1 hex countercharge. And now we get to do the close combat. And to do that, we pull this set of charts up. And the first thing we do is a defender morale check. They've already done that in order to make the countercharge, so that's not an issue. There's no defensive fire because this is cav. So now we go to the attack resolution itself. We total our strength points, which is going to be 8 to 6, I believe. And that means the attackers got 1 to 1. It would be 12, or no, it would be 9 in order to get to the 1.5 to 1. And what else? Well, we need modifiers. And each side is going to roll dice. God, this is such a painful thing with all these different charts to read. Okay, each side is going to roll dice, and let's see. We have nothing here so far. An attack column in lines, front hexes is inflamed. See below. An attack column in lines, front hexes. Nothing about a march column there, huh? Yeah, I don't know what, I don't know how to even read that, to tell you the truth. Is it just, it is? I don't think so. I think it's if the attack column is, because most of these are ifs. Charging cav. Okay, so here we have, these are both heavy cav. So they're both at +2, and this guy moved 2 hexes, and this guy moved 1. So +4 to +3, I guess. We each roll. Don't ask me what happens next. I forgot. It's been a while. There's okay, let me try to remember. +4, +3, so 8 and 9. We subtract the 9 from the 8, I believe. So we end up on a -1. Nobody rolled a 0. There's nothing special. -1 on the 1 to 1. The attacker takes a 1R, the defender takes a 1D. What do those mean? Well, the 1R is a rout. The 1D is I believe, an automatic disorder rather than a disorder check. Yeah. So we get a disorder here. We get a 5 as he goes down in strength, and I'll have to mark those on my chart. The Prussians get a 7 and a mighty old route marker. And that ain't a good result. And now, once I find where charges go, it's really wonderful how they do all the counters in, you know, these gray and white, so they're pretty much indistinguishable. Just joking here, of course. No, I find it really annoying. As annoying as the color coding on the counters, which on the actual unit counters, which to me makes them, again, I can't tell which side is which. That's going to be a problem once they get there. Okay, so what happens on a round? Well, I look up the rules. And that's what you do all the time in this game, I'm guessing, until you get really, really familiar with it, is you're constantly paging through the rules for every single action you try to take. Okay. Well, we look at the routed rules, and it tells you what happens here, but not the length of the retreat. So then we go over and look at route retreats. 4 hexes, routing cav 6. And it goes kind of away, and we'll take care of that. Doesn't really matter which way. It doesn't really have a formation anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that did not work out well for the Prussians. Not only did they take a casualty, but these strength points are a problem for their army morale as well. Now, again, you know, we're talking 8 strength points total that have been affected here for them. It's 9 with the additional one. It's not enough that it's going to cause a problem in this early in the battle. But, you know, as casualties mount up, the fact that you have routing units on the board can cause your army to start breaking earlier. Okay, so we had another Prussian cav charge driven back into a route. Now this time it's a little different because we have a not disordered Austrian cav, which means there's a pursuit possibility. First of all, moves forward. And now I have the attempt to recall if I want, which looks wise, so I think I'm going to try that right at the beginning. It's going to be a morale check. And he's in the 20s. Okay, that's a failure. There can be no other recall check. So the pursuit happens. And how many pursuit points does he get? I don't know. He has to follow the retreat stack. And got potential costs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's what happens. Now he causes 5 more casualties. There should have already been 1 here. So that goes down to a 2. Now historically, the Prussian cav was defeated eventually, but I'm not sure it certainly didn't open up in quite so negative a fashion for them. Alright, I gotta mark these 5 more losses down for the Prussians. Okay, so we move up to the 720 turn. I haven't cleaned up the board of the markers that are on the way, and actually I haven't rolled to see if the routed units recover. But this is pretty much the tableau at the end of the turn. With the Prussian artillery beginning to stream forward, the skirmishers have decided they're not going to be able to cope with the infantry in their way, so they headed out trying to provide a screen. This is cav here, but you know, if they can start shooting at it, it's probably better than whatever they're doing back here where they were trading a single shot at best. Down here we have massive cav forces on both sides positioned, and more Austrian cav coming in. Still not sure what the infantry's up to. There's a big stack though that I believe Frederick can see, which is clearly coming in down here. Alright, guess that's about it. Okay, that cav engagement is beginning to actually heat up here. We had a number of Prussian units performing charges both against this side of the line and against this guy who was left after his pursuit. See how that turns out. Okay, so the results were kind of a mess, which I expected, but because it's cav fighting cav. What we got is a couple routed Austrians here, a pursuing Prussian here, Prussian disordered here, disordered Austrian here, and that was an interesting fight because it just kept going and going and eventually got a special result. And then kept going, routing the Prussian unit and the Austrian here. Special results are kind of interesting. I don't know where to find them anymore. Yeah, they're on this page. You know, this is the biggest problem with it is even you have to have all these sheets all over the place. Over here, you know, it caused a refight with casualties, which is kind of cool. Possible leader loss. That can really unbalance a fight. I did notice a couple of things that I screwed up on my first cav attack. One is, I forgot, you got to flip over all your counters and see what their combat modifier is, and then you average that for a side basically, which usually it's one counter on one counter, but I had a 2 to 1 because this guy failed his morale check and didn't charge. I'm finding the system very, very mechanically painful. You know, it's not terribly pleasant to try to remember all the rolls, but they're not that bad. But the mechanical aspect of it is just, I mean, I don't know. My hopes had been, this won't be much worse than, say, ASL. I'm on the verge of calling it unplayable based on this. So, while I'm fiddling with all these pieces and trying to get them to move in a legitimate manner, etc., I notice I've completely neglected the commander roles. And I mean more or less outside of an individual commander keeping his own units in command. I'm looking at these guys. I wanted to activate, I don't know, look low. I have no idea who he is. But somewhere or another there's a look who's his commander. And I have no idea where this guy is. He should be the wing commander. Gonna look H here. Oh, there he is. Okay. So, we're in range of look, but here's the problem. I'm not in range of the army commander here. Okay. You know, look has to trace back to the army commander, but there's only a 10 hex range to that. I got a problem, you know? I got to roll on the initiative to try to get an action there. But even if I did that, this doesn't work because I am out of range. This is because the guy routed. I wanted to launch an overall attack here. This is about all I could attack with. I wanted to take these guys out. I think I'm still going to try. So let's see what the initiative rules say. And I'm not sure how much longer I can take this. I had this situation with with the first game I tried to learn, which was Ney versus Wellington, and I have never been able to face that game properly. I mean, I've been able to learn the rules and play it. I just can't enjoy it. This is much, much worse than it. Now, in terms of the complications and the mechanics, I don't know. What's our initiative roll here? Commander who cannot trace can use initiative. To do so, he rolls one die and compares it to the initiative rating. Okay, well, let's see his initiative rating. I think that's a 6. Can he use looks? Who's got an 8? I hope so. It doesn't look like. It looks like he can only use it. It looks like they're stuck on their own unless I get a wing activation. So, let's see. Oh, he didn't activate. What does that mean? Well, let's see. Oh, wait, this is... Oh, no, that's in... Yeah, his whole force is going to be out of command, which means they're not going to be able to do what I want. But they still move. Prussian Cavs beginning to make some inroads, cracking the Austrians, which really, they can react, etc., but they can't initiate combat right now. I've just moved Brown up here so that everything should be in command, running from Sulowitz up to Lobositz. I think I've been cheating, though, in terms of positioning these. These guys probably have to roll initiative to move, too. C'est la vie. Alright. We moved some Austrians forward, a couple of Cav units from Lacey's overall command. Smacked into... These were light Cav, smacking into a heavy, or medium, I can't tell which, that was already shaken. That was a bad choice. Yeah, with the charge bonus and everything, it wasn't too bad, but ended up getting a morale roll, and one unit broke, the other one had to fight alone. It actually got a special result of steady lads, which I probably would have been better off routing to begin with. Lost a total of 3 strength points, but the Prussians couldn't pursue. Where you see where the Prussians have pursued, they've basically eliminated an Austrian Cav unit. There's 2 been killed already. Here are losses right now: 14 for the Prussians, 21 for the Austrians. Plus the Austrians have a number of routed units. I don't think they're ready to start making checks yet, but... Okay, we came to the end of the 720 turn. We're at 740. Basically did a little bit of rallying. See some units still running off the map, and some fairly disordered ones. And oh boy, you know, that's so easy to see from a distance. Almost as clever as making the units so easy to distinguish. And I mean, yeah, it looks pretty clear here. I can tell who's who here. But it gets harder when these guys got green, these guys get green. You know, this is a small battle. 1 person on each side, easy to keep track of, I'm sure. Some of these games are really, really huge. It's got to be a pain in the ass with 1 person on the side to do it. Playing solitaire, it's a pain in the butt because I walk away, whatever. It's just not a convenience matter, is all it is. Okay, so where are we in the battle? Well, we see the Grenzers have moved over, continuing to try to screen, but the Prussians are managing to keep them kind of at bay and not able to do much by just putting a line in their way. It's slowing the Prussian advance a little bit, but it's going to take forever to get these cannons into place. Speaking of cannons, I finally moved the Austrian ones around so that they can get a line of fire on this guy. They didn't get to shoot, but yeah. I mean, the Prussians are close enough that I do have to start worrying about. This guy's actually in range. It's beginning to worry me. The opening to Welhota looks like that's not going to be easy to defend. And so maybe I don't want to bring these three last commands into play. I'm not sure. Alright, I'm going to wrap this and send it up. Things are looking weak over here in this region too, where the big cav fight is coming, but we got Colorats, big infantry, coursing in there. So we'll see how well they handle this to see whether I need to bring reinforcements in.